Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me, and once again, welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. I'm staying in a hotel room right now for various reasons, but yeah, because I'm out of quarantine, I can go to places like this now. But anyways, this time is going to be on Strays. Now, Strays is the type of film that when you look at it, looks like it could be a kid's film, since it's a live-action film about talking dogs, since we've had a lot of those in the past that were aimed towards kids. But if you look at the trailer, then yeah, it's definitely far from that. In this film, we follow a little dog named Reggie who loves his owner so much, but his owner doesn't really love him all that much. He treats him like garbage, and he tries to get rid of him multiple times, and he manages to succeed at it. And when Reggie realizes that his owner doesn't love him, he meets up with a bunch of stray dogs who help him try to get revenge. And the big way he's going to get his revenge is if he goes back to the house to bite his he's trying to bite his man part off. So yeah, clearly this movie is trying to poke fun of that kind of genre when it comes to kids films, because, you know, honestly, I feel like that's one of the worst genres when it comes to kids films, because there were a lot of terrible ones. I mean, the 2000s had so many of them, and even the early 2010s had a lot of them. It's really hard for me to name a really good one. I mean, there were just so many bad ones. Underdog, Beverly Hills Chihuahua, Cats and Dogs 2. You know, they had a Buddies movie like every single year, straight to video. And I am still trying to figure out why Hollywood decided to revive the genre in 2018 with show dogs. Did anyone even think that was going to be good? I don't know. But yeah, I can definitely say this is better than all those films. But this movie isn't just trying to poke fun at that genre, but it also tends to see dogs in the ways how, you know, most people would see dogs, like how they would react to certain stuff in society. So yeah, it's certainly going through more of that route rather than, you know, just trying to get revenge on a guy just for treating him like garbage. But really though, I can definitely see why he wants to get revenge. Despite the fact that Reggie thinks that his owner loves him so much, and he just loves him so much even though he treats him like trash, yeah, his owner, let's just be honest, he is probably the worst dog owner in the history of film, probably ever, because all that he cares about in life is money, doing drugs. You know, he pretty much lost everything because of that one dog. And even though he tries to make him happy, he just absolutely hates him. He abuses him. And yeah, this is definitely a film that tackles, you know, the topic of owners being abusive to their animals, because it can be common in the real world, sadly. And that's why, you know, these dogs, I honestly felt bad, because, you know, even the dogs, they haven't had their best lives either. But despite that topic, the movie definitely focuses a lot on the raunchy humor. This movie just goes over the top. And I wouldn't say it necessarily does it in a smart way, but I can say they do have their reasons. I mean, there are a lot of poop jokes, a lot of jokes about poop, a lot of jokes about humping. So if you're a dog lover but you don't really like all the raunchy humor, then chances are you're probably not going to enjoy this film. But this is definitely aimed towards the dog lovers. And while I have always been more of a cat person, even though I have been super hooked about a show about cartoon dogs, and I have a lot of merch on that, but a lot of the jokes are basically, you know, gross stuff involving the dogs, and it can be quite weird and it can quite be over the top, but sometimes it can get very shockingly dark at some parts. Although there was this one part that I did see coming a mile away, specifically during the scene with the mushrooms, if we saw in the trailer. But I will say that the movie is very well paced. The movie gets right to the point. It never drags on way too long, and it's only an hour and 30 minutes, and it only focuses on the dogs. It never focuses on the human characters. It never cuts back to the owner, because we do not care about the owner because he's a complete jerk. So yeah, it's nice to know that they're actually focusing on the dogs because it's about dogs, stray dogs. And they're not trying to focus, on any character building in terms of the humans or anything like that. It focuses on the dogs. So that's really nice to see. So it might not necessarily be a smart film, but I can say I do see where they were going with this one. And the movie shockingly does have a good amount of heart to it. It does have its rude moments, but mostly it does have a good heart to it. Like, there are some touching moments, shockingly, which is something that I didn't really expect all that much. But in terms of its jokes, I just wish they were handled in a much more smarter way, because in terms of raunchy comedies, I feel like the best one to come out this year is Joyride, because I feel like that movie managed to get its heart and its raunchy humor in the right moments. And it managed to get most of that right. Right here, I see what they were trying to go for here, and it's definitely not something for everyone, not even every single dog owner, because some of the dogs do get hurt in the movie, but they do use CGI, and the CGI is very noticeable, but that can be forgiving because they're dogs. You don't actually want to see dogs get hurt in a movie. So yeah, that can be forgiven. So yeah, it's more forgiving than a lot of the CGI that they do use in superhero films, but needless to say, this movie isn't necessarily a new comedy classic by any means. It definitely does have some humor that just goes super over the top, more over the top than I expected. But the humor does get kind of old really fast. That's not to say that I didn't chuckle or laugh at parts, because there are definitely some laugh out loud moments. It just could have been handled a little bit better, but I feel like the way they handled the way the dogs interact with the world, I feel like the way they did that is decent enough. And it does have heart to it. And the movie was never boring too, so it's definitely more for the dog lovers out there. And, if they just want to see dogs get revenge on their abusive owners, so maybe they'll be satisfied with that. But in the end, guys, Strays might not necessarily be a new comedic classic by any means necessary, but it's one that I feel like I don't know what you're going to expect, but one thing that I will recommend to expect is just a bunch of raunchy humor involving dogs. It does get super over the top sometimes, and sometimes it manages to do it a little too much, but what do you expect? It needs to be as raunchy as possible, but I can't necessarily say it was a bad time. In fact, I did find myself enjoying most of what was on screen, even though it was kind of gross. Of course, I'm going to be seeing Blue Beetle as well, so look forward to that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.